have 3,200 by the end of 2028. The grocery chain says that the expansion coincides with the demand for an affordable shopping model. Google's parent company, Alphabet, became the fourth tech giant to be valued at $4 trillion. It comes as Google announced it's expanding the shopping experience in its chatbot by partnering with Walmart and several other big box retailers. Apple, Microsoft, and NVIDIA have all topped the $4 trillion threshold. And now on Good Day Chicago, the body of a missing CPS teacher has been found. What her family is saying this morning.
We now know what time the Bears will play the Rams on Sunday, and head coach Ben Johnson has a lot of praise for Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford.
Taking a live look outside this morning, Mike says, enjoy these mild temperatures because they are going bye-bye very soon. Happy Tuesday morning to you, and thanks for joining us on this 5 a.m. hour of Good Day Chicago. I'm Brian Jackson.
And I'm Gabriela Primus. But remember, Brian, we're living in the moment.
This is true.
We're focusing on today. Mike, I mean, for the rest of the day, and I'm glad we're not seeing a bunch of rain also to go along with this warmer temperature.
Right, yeah. You know, yesterday it looked like there might be a chance for a sprinkle somewhere. I'm really trying to downplay that. I think today's going to be a pretty decent day here with temperatures even warmer than what we had yesterday. We will see some sunshine as well. At 9 o'clock already 40, 47 at noon, warming up nicely. And by 4 o'clock, I think we'll be at our high for the day. Breezy and mild with 52 degrees out there under partly sunny skies. Right now, temperatures already way above the normal high, which is 32. We got 38 at O'Hare, 34 at Woodstock, 36 in Morris. How about Northwest Indiana? 37 at Gary, 36 at Merrillville. A little bit of wind out there, but not too bad. We'll see a mixture of clouds and sun today, but there is some snow on the way. In fact, several days we could see a few snow showers around here. I'll give you a look at the 7-day in a little bit, but let's take our first look at the roads and the rails. Gabriella, how are we doing?
You know, Mike, I'm just going to talk about some overnight road work that might be sticking around. First, the express lanes on the Kennedy, they're closed until right now at 5 o'clock. And I'm looking at a camera. It doesn't seem like they're moving just yet, so here in a little bit, but just for some maintenance overnight. And then we had some road construction on the Kennedy as well, going eastbound between Lawrence Avenue and the Edens as well. So keep that in mind. Also, some ramps were closed overnight over on the Edens at Foster, and then also on the Kennedy at Lake Street, on the westbound side of the Kennedy, I should say, at Lake Street, the outbound side. Those, of course, should reopen here at 5 o'clock. It looks like the one on the Edens has already reopened. All right, switching to football, the NFL has finalized the schedule for the divisional round of the playoffs.
Chicago Bears will now host the LA Rams on Sunday. We kick off at Soldier Field at 5:30. The Rams are 0-2 at Soldier Field under head coach Sean McVay. Chicago won last year's meeting 28-14, with the Bears holding quarterback Matthew Stafford without a touchdown. We're talking about a different Rams team this season. They've led the NFL in scoring and total yards, led by Stafford, who's playing at an MVP level. It is something Bears head coach Ben Johnson is not surprised with. He spent 2 seasons with Stafford in Detroit.
So much respect for that guy. I mean, you talk about the ultimate competitor. He's one of the more supremely talented throwers of the football I've ever been around in my life. He's outstanding. I think he's a great teammate. But what I think second to none with him is his toughness, physical toughness. Like this guy's gone through a lot, and yet finds a way to will himself onto the field to be there for his teammates. So when you look at him from just a competitor standpoint, like this is a really good player.
The last time the Bears played the Rams in the playoffs was back in 1986. When you remember, the Bears made their way to winning the Super Bowl.
Some more news that are topping our headlines today. There's a push to improve safety on the CTA after a string of violent crimes.
One group is trying to do their part to keep passengers safe. Roseanne is live this morning with the latest on their efforts. Roseanne?
That's right. Well, these men have received special violence prevention training, and they rode the Blue Line last night in the hopes of providing an extra layer of protection to CTA riders who have grown pretty wary over all of those recent incidents. And we're talking about the violence prevention group, the group gathering at State and Lake after 9 p.m. and boarding that Blue Line train to the last Chicago stop in Austin. This comes after several violent incidents on CTA trains. The most recent, a deadly stabbing on the Blue Line at Clark and Lake early Saturday. A 37-year-old man died from his injuries. Of course, in October, a woman was also badly burned when she was set on fire on the Blue Line. Then early Sunday on the Red Line, another man was stabbed after arguing on a train near the 69th Street stop. The violence interrupters say they're specially trained to de-escalate and deter dangerous situations. Tio Hardiman is the group's founder and executive director.
People start talking crazy. We know how to meet them where they are and not talk crazy back to them, but work it out with them so they don't harm anybody. And I know for a fact we probably could have prevented some of them stabbings from taking place out here on CTA if we were present.
Yes, he says they have been hearing from a lot of people who have been asking that they start riding trains to make them feel a little safer. They plan to ride the CTA trains during those early morning hours when most of these violent incidents occur, which happens to be, around 2 a.m. And they say there's definitely a sense of urgency. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Roseanne. It'll be interesting to see if there's any changes. Switching gears here, Illinois is suing the Department of Homeland Security in response to tactics used by ICE and Border Protection agents in the state. It argues ICE and Border Patrol agents have been using illegal and dangerous tactics, including using tear gas and swapping or altering license plates. Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulia says Illinois will not stand for federal agents disregarding laws and compromising public safety.
We have a fundamental responsibility to protect our residents, to uphold the law, and to hold people accountable for their illegal actions. With help from Illinoisans using our Plate Watch hotline, we gathered the evidence that helped form one of the foundations for this lawsuit.
The lawsuit is asking a federal court to order agents in Illinois to stop using illegal tactics, including deploying tear gas without warning. The Department of Homeland Security is reacting, with Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin saying in part, quote, "It really is astounding that the left can miraculously rediscover the 10th Amendment when they don't want federal law enforcement officers to enforce federal law," unquote. Leaders in Minnesota are suing the Department of Homeland Security to end immigration enforcement efforts there. Protests and clashes with federal agents are ongoing in Minneapolis. A new lawsuit claims DHS is violating the rights of Minnesota and the Twin Cities and targeting them for political reasons. It asks a judge to halt or limit the immigration enforcement.
After more than a week of searching, the body of a missing CPS teacher has been found. The body of 53-year-old Linda Brown was found at Lake Michigan on Monday near 31st and Harbor. Family says that Linda had been dealing with panic attacks and mental health issues leading up to her disappearance. Her family is grateful for all the support from friends and strangers. They're now asking for privacy for Linda's husband and their family as they navigate this difficult time.
He is beside himself. He is just very, very upset. Again, this wasn't the outcome any of us was hoping for, especially Antoine. He really thought that we would bring Linda home safely and she would be alive and well. So he is very deep in grief right now as well. He's having a hard time speaking and processing his thoughts, obviously, why I'm taking over as the spokesperson for my family in general. But yeah, he's beside himself. He just lost the love of his life.
The cause of death is still unknown, pending an autopsy. Police are investigating after a woman was shot right outside of Rush Medical Center where she works. She was shot early yesterday morning in a drive-by shooting while parked near the hospital. Police have not said if this was a targeted attempt, and no one has been arrested. Police are now looking for a dark-colored sedan.
The man accused of killing an Ohio dentist and his wife is waiving extradition after he was arrested in Illinois. Michael David McKee was in Winnebago County courtroom yesterday. He's accused of killing his ex-wife, Monique Tippie, and her husband, Spencer, in their home in Columbus back on December 30th. He was arrested in Rockford, where he is a surgeon.
In the suburb of LaGrange, the Village is debating whether to demolish a historic little antique mall. It is located near the corner of East Burlington and 6th Avenue, not far from Ogden Avenue. This proposal would replace the space with a condominium development. At a village meeting last night, residents said that the proposal disregards the historical significance of the building.
Jackson Storage has lived many lives and has many lives to live yet. If the antique mall is kaput, that's a shame, but okay. It's the historic structure we must preserve. It's a rare gem, and we can use it, repurpose it, convert it.
Currently, more than 70 small business owners operate within the building.
5:09. All right, the Bears are still riding the high this week. It hasn't stopped yet, but they are focused on the Rams still.
Yes, and it's going to be a fantastic outing, Mike. And our head coach has a lot of kind things to say about their quarterback.
He does, and I mean, who doesn't? You got to give respect to the guy. Yeah, he's a leading MVP candidate. All the rivalry between the Bears and Packers certainly cranked up during last weekend's wild card game. Several Packers, as you'll recall, they were talking smack. They wanted to play the Bears, hoping to end their season. Well, head coach Ben Johnson gave his feelings about the Packers during yesterday's press conference at Hallis Hall.
There's a rivalry that exists between these two teams, something that I fully recognize and I'm a part of. And yeah, I mean, I don't like that team. So George and I have talked, and we're on the same page.
Me too. The Bears will host the Rams in the divisional round. That game is Sunday at 5:30. And as you'll recall, the Bears beat the Rams last year. So don't just think, oh, the Rams have a great record. Yeah. Well, Rams QB Matthew Stafford is going into Sunday's game. Got a little bit of an injury. The 37-year-old has a sprained index finger, and it is on his throwing hand. It happened against the Panthers. X-rays came back negative. Nothing is broken. Head coach Sean McVay said he doesn't think Stafford's going to have to wear anything on his finger or hand to protect the injury, and he will be all good to go on Sunday. Final game of the wild card round was in Pittsburgh last night, and the hometown faithful did not like what they saw. The Steelers hosting the Texans. This one was all Texans defense. They scored a pair of touchdowns on turnovers, including that pick six. They also held Aaron Rodgers to just 146 yards passing, 0 touchdowns. Could that have been, bless you, Gabby, could that have been the last game for Aaron Rodgers? We shall see. Texans win 30-6. They will head to New England to take on the Patriots in the division round. The Blackhawks, it was ugly at the UC. Hawks trailed by 2 in the third when Tyler Bertuzzi finally found the back of the net for the Hawks, but the Oilers went on to score a pair more. Hawks lose 4-1. Nice night for Connor McDavid. He had 2 assists. I believe he's got 50 now on the season. Wow. Okay, let's talk about the weather here. We have mostly cloudy skies out there right now. Other than for astronomy needs, that's fine because what that does holds temperatures up a little bit overnight. And because of that, I've already increased my high temperature forecast from what it was yesterday by a couple of degrees. Kids going to school this morning, it'll be in the 30s. It will be above freezing. I think medium coats are going to be fine. You don't need the full ultra puffer with 55 layers going on. By noon, already in the upper 40s. I think that ride home, you're going to be seeing some sunshine mixed with clouds. Temperatures in the low 50s. Wow. Here's what you got now. 38 at Midway and O'Hare, 37 at Joliet, Chicago's lakefront, 34 at DeKalb, 35 at Merrillville, 36 at Michigan City. See this area right here that I'm highlighting? That's a spot late Wednesday into Thursday, likely to get some lake effect snow that will amount to something. Today, there's a little bit of rain and snow combo platter across parts of Wisconsin, the UP, nothing in the Chicago area other than some of the cloud cover tied to that disturbance, a little weak trough of low pressure coming through. But the main cold front, that is arriving, well, sometime around midnight, the way it looks now. That will sweep away all this unusual warmth, and in its wake, temperatures will be dropping during the day tomorrow. Could there be a snow shower in the morning right behind the front? Yeah. It would be much? No. This is the area we're going to watch for accumulating snows. It could impact parts of Porter County, but certainly LaPorte and Berrien County. I think you're going to end up with winter weather advisory level snow there. On the Illinois side during the day tomorrow, I just don't think much is going on other than cold coming in and locking in here for a few days with a sticking snow likely to start Thursday night. Today, we're going to see a mixture of clouds and sunshine, high temperature of 52 degrees, winds out of the southwest at 12 to 24.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, President Trump is taking action against Iran for its crackdown on protesters.
We're talking with Fox political analyst Doug Luzader about the situation there right after this break.
Having car battery problems?
Welcome back. President Trump has a strategy session with top military leaders today at the White House to talk about options for Iran.
Protests in that country continue to rise as the death toll is also rising. Our Doug Luzader is live in Washington, D.C. this morning. So, Doug, what is the Trump administration saying about this ongoing unrest in Iran?
Well, look, I think what we're hearing from the White House is that everything is on the table right now in terms of response to Iran. We saw the president yesterday talking about tariffs, going after countries that do business with Iran. There are military options that are going to be laid out for the president this morning, and there are talks. There is an interest, apparently, on the part of Iran to negotiate with the United States. We don't know how sincere that is, but there are talks about talks right now to see if, in fact, they can move that process forward. But, the ultimate question here is how far the president is willing to go to assist in the efforts of these protesters to essentially overturn the regime there in Iran.
So that being said, are there any new warnings for U.S. citizens in Iran?
Well, the warnings have been in place for a while for U.S. citizens. They've certainly been reiterated, but the warnings have been in place for a while for U.S. citizens to be extremely careful in Iran. And we just don't know what's going to be the next step here. Obviously, if there's military action, that's a significant move. We saw military action last year as the U.S. took out Iranian nuclear sites. So it's always a possibility, but we don't know, again, what the president is thinking here, and that may be by design as they try to keep Iran guessing as well.
All right, we'll be keeping our eye to see what comes out of that meeting with military leaders a little bit later today. That is our Doug Luzader reporting live from Washington, D.C. this morning. Thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Doug. And we bring in Mike Kaplan. Mike, what can we expect for the week? I know that's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster.
So you're already planning for the weekend? Yeah. Is there anything important going on? You're going to be inside watching the game at 5:30 on Sunday, aren't you?
Yes, of course.
I actually have a friend who was selling 2 seats like at face value. He's got season tickets. I think it was like $500 per.
Okay.
And I thought about it briefly, and then I was like, I actually know how cold it's going to be out here. I'm going to let somebody more hardy than myself get out there and do it. All right, let's get into it. Today, no worries about cold. That is for sure. It's going to be an unseasonably mild day. I think we're safely in the low 50s here with a mixture of clouds and sunshine. Rainfall, I'm just not impressed with anything today. What I do think will happen, I have high confidence, is a cold front's moving through here late tonight. Whatever the temperature is at midnight is going to be our high for the day tomorrow. There will likely be some scattered snow showers overnight into tomorrow morning. Not going to accumulate here, but with falling temperatures, it's going to feel and look a little bit more wintry. Here's where you're going to have snow issues that can cause some travel havoc. This will likely impact maybe northeastern Porter County, but even more so LaPorte, Berrien County, and points east going towards, say, South Bend. So if you're traveling in that area, especially late tomorrow into early Thursday, these are the spots that are likely going to get several inches of snowfall. On the Illinois side, no, not going to happen on Wednesday anyway. We will just see mostly cloudy skies and much colder temperatures. As I mentioned, the high for the day will be at midnight, then falling into the 20s in the afternoon. But there is some snow in the forecast, as you'll see with the 7-day. And there is also the likelihood that for the 4th week of January, temperatures around here trending colder than normal. Doesn't necessarily mean it will be, brutal Arctic air, but colder than normal. Today, unseasonably mild, 52, mixture of clouds and sun, a little bit breezy. Tonight, a low, eventually tomorrow morning, of 28 degrees, maybe a brief light shower, mainly snow coming through here into tomorrow morning. 38 degrees will be our high with falling temperatures. 26 on Thursday. Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday, we'll see some occasional snow showers, maybe enough that in the aggregate, we get a couple inches of snow out of that. Sunday for the Bears game, just cold, a high of 18, but by game time, be dropping lower in the teens. For the King holiday, partly cloudy with a high of 22 degrees. 521, let's kick it over to Gabriella for an update on our commute. Do they pick up all the cones and barrels and stuff?
I think so, Mike, because I really have nothing to talk about here for your 520 traffic report, other than maybe a slow ramp or two, including on the inbound side of the Stevenson to the inbound side of the Dan Ryan. But yeah, all the overnight road work, has been picked up. Let's take a look at your drive time just for the heck of it. Why not? 25 minutes on the Kennedy from O'Hare to downtown. Same on the Eisenhower. It's called 20 minutes on the Stevenson from 355 to DeSable Lakeshore Drive, and under 20 minutes on the Dan Ryan from 95th to the Burn Interchange. I'll keep you updated.
But a judge overseeing Luigi Mangione's federal trial is now ordering a new hearing.
And Senator Mark Kelly takes to the Senate floor to criticize Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth. We'll have the details coming up.
First and North.
Welcome back. Taking a live look at our camera just north of the city. Things looking okay right now, and we have a nice day ahead of us. 524, switching over to some national headlines. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly criticized Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth on the Senate floor. Kelly delivered a fiery speech in connection to his lawsuit filed against the Pentagon. The lawsuit is a response to U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth issuing a formal letter of censure against Kelly. The letter comes 6 months after Kelly participated in a video urging troops to, quote, refuse illegal orders.
Pete Hegseth's unconstitutional crusade against me sends a chilling message to every retired member of the military. If you speak out and say something that the President and Secretary of Defense doesn't like, you will be censured, threatened with demotion, or even prosecuted.
Hegseth's efforts could potentially lower Kelly's military retirement rank of captain and reduce his retirement pay.
New security footage shows an arson at a Mississippi synagogue. The FBI says 19-year-old Stephen Pittman targeted the Beth Israel congregation in Jackson because of its, quote, Jewish ties. The suspect could be seen pouring a flammable liquid on the floor and a couch in the lobby of the building on Saturday. He was later arrested. Nobody was hurt, though. The Beth Israel Synagogue is the oldest synagogue in Mississippi.
The judge overseeing Luigi Mangione's federal trial is ordering a new hearing. It'll focus on whether the 27-year-old's backpack was lawfully searched during his arrest. Now, at some point, that judge is also expected to rule whether Mangione could face the death penalty if he's convicted in the death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
There was a surprise meeting at the Vatican yesterday. Pope Leo met with Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado. Machado is touring both Europe and the U.S. after she reemerged in December after 11 months in hiding to accept her Nobel Peace Prize in Norway. Pope Leo has called for Venezuela to remain an independent country after U.S. forces captured Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro from his compound. Machado will meet with President Trump at the White House on Thursday.
All right, 526 now. I'm excited for this little, warm stretch that we've had because I feel like it gives us a taste of spring. You know, that warmer weather is to come. Just be ready for it.
We refer to this as the January thaw, and we've had now, this is what's going to be the 10th day in a row of above average temperatures, and we're there already. Let's take a look at the satellite imagery. It's not going to end up being as sunny as it was yesterday afternoon. Take a look here. Little weather 101 here. Whenever you see this kind of comma shape, you see this right in here? That is indicative of the presence of low pressure sitting right about there. That's moving to the east. We're on the south end of that. We're going to pick up some cloud cover, but all the rainfall is staying well to the north of us. Here's a look at the radar. And you can see rain and some snow showers across parts of Wisconsin, Michigan. Nothing that's going to bother us. You know, I'd mentioned yesterday the possibility of a rain shower. I wasn't really that thrilled about it, and I'm still not. The Bears, let's go ahead and fast forward to Sunday evening. Kickoff 5:30 p.m. and it'll be cold, 16 degrees at kickoff time. Halftime, it'll have dropped a few degrees with a wind chill near 0. And then the final 11 degrees at the end of the game, but it's going to be even colder for the Rams fans and those players. Today, let's get it up to 52. How about that? But it's the warmest day of the bunch. Southwest winds at 12 to 24. 7-day forecast features a downward trend in temperatures with the coldest of it, I think, being on Sunday. The best chance of getting some sticking snow is going to be Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday. No big storm, but just kind of a continuation of a spotty snow shower here and there for a couple of days, maybe a couple of inches total accumulation. Cold on Sunday, and also cold but looking dry for the King holiday with a high temperature of 22.
All right, thank you, Mike. Stick around for more news, weather, and traffic right after this short break.
Two-minute car wash initiating.
Now, Good Day Chicago, the body of a missing CPS teacher has been found. What her family is saying.
Illinois is suing the Department of Homeland Security over tactics used during Operation Midway Blitz.
We now know what time the Bears will play the Rams on Sunday. Plus, head coach Ben Johnson has a lot of praise for Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. Mike.
All right, we have mostly cloudy skies out there right now. Temperatures are above freezing at a time of year where about 19 degrees would be the normal low. One more really mild day, and then you fans of winter, you have something to cheer about. Let's talk about the roads and the rails. Gabriella, what kind of slowdowns have you got for us?
Mike, we're looking A-OK on both our roads and rails right now. Really, the only slowdown that you're seeing on our roads is on that inbound ramp to the inbound side of the Dan Ryan from the Stevenson, and also over on the eastbound side of I-80 near Joliet because of some road construction that's been going on. Remember that there's that whole reconstruction project that's happening until 2026 or 2027, excuse me. The NFL has finalized a schedule for the divisional round of the playoffs.
Bears will host the Rams on Sunday with kickoff at 5:30. Rams are 0-2 at Soldier Field under head coach Sean McVay. Chicago won last year's meeting 28-14 with the Bears holding quarterback Matthew Stafford without a touchdown. But we're talking about a much different Rams team this season. They've led the NFL in scoring and total yards, led by Stafford, who could just possibly win the MVP this year. It's something head coach Ben Johnson is not surprised with. He spent 2 seasons with Stafford in Detroit.
So much respect for that guy. I mean, you talk about the ultimate competitor. He's one of the more supremely talented throwers of the football I've ever been around in my life. He's outstanding. I think he's a great teammate. But what I think second to none with him is his toughness, physical toughness. Like this guy's gone through a lot, and yet finds a way to will himself onto the field to be there for his teammates. So when you look at him from just a competitor standpoint, like this is a really good player.
The last time the Bears played the Rams in the playoffs was back in 1986 on their way to winning the Super Bowl.
A topic that we've been talking about at least once a week. There's a push to improve safety on the CTA after a string of violent crimes.
One group is trying to do their part to keep passengers safe. Roseanne is live this morning on their latest efforts. Roseanne?
Right, we're talking about violence interrupters, and they say their eyes and ears and special training are offering an extra layer of safety for passengers who may be nervous about all the recent incidents on CTA trains. The violence interrupters gathered last night at State and Lake just after 9 p.m. boarding a Blue Line train to the last stop in Chicago and Austin. This comes after several violent incidents on trains, the most recent a deadly stabbing on the Blue Line at Clark and Lake early Saturday. A 37-year-old man died from his injuries. In October, you'll remember, of course, a woman was also badly burned when she was set on fire on the Blue Line. Early Sunday, on the Red Line, another man was stabbed after arguing on a train near the 69th Street stop. Well, the group says they are specially trained to de-escalate and deter dangerous situations.
It's on the minds and hearts of all Chicagoans that CTA is unsafe. So Violence Interrupters, a non-for-profit organization, has offered its outreach services, its mental health services, its crisis prevention services. So we're asking CTA and the city of Chicago to continue to talk so that we could make this happen as soon as possible.
Right, the group says they are not-for-profit. They don't get any financial support from the city, but would like to keep patrolling the trains. They'd like to do it weekly, mostly in the early morning hours around 2 a.m. when the bulk of these violent incidents are occurring. In the Loop, Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
All right, Roseanne, thank you for the latest on the efforts to keep everybody safe.
Now switching gears, tensions flaring overnight in Minnesota as protesters and law enforcement clashed outside the ICE regional headquarters in Minneapolis.
It comes as local elected officials are pursuing a lawsuit against the federal government. Fox's Caroline Elliott is live just outside of Minneapolis with the latest. Good morning.
Good morning, Brian and Gabriella. Overnight here, we saw more protests outside the federal building here in Minneapolis that at times really got out of control. We saw some of those videos this morning online that appears to show protesters throwing fireworks at federal agents. After all this, though, ICE says they're going to keep doing their jobs.
We fighting for Renee. You know, we will be outside until ICE gets out our city.
Protests are not slowing down. And tensions keep rising after last week's shooting death of 37-year-old Renee Good at the hands of an ICE agent. DHS says the officer acted in self-defense, accusing Good of trying to hit him with her car. But many local leaders disagree, saying ICE is scaring residents here.
While we know we can't control federal agents, we will pull every lever we have to fight back.
The state of Minnesota and the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul are now suing the Trump administration to try and end its immigration crackdown.
We asked the courts to end the DHS unlawful behavior in our state. The intimidation, the threats, the violence.
Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey says the surge in ICE agents is purely political.
You've got a Democratic governor, a Democratic Attorney General, and you got Democratic mayors.
But DHS says hundreds of extra agents will be on their way. This as the White House is calling out anti-ICE protesters, saying their rhetoric is fueling violence.
Apparently, they are protesting the removal of heinous murderers and rapists and criminals from a city.
And a DHS is now responding to that lawsuit, saying this isn't about politics at all. This is about safety. Brian, Gabriella.
All right, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thank you. Illinois is suing the Department of Homeland Security in response to tactics used by ICE and Border Protection agents in the state. It argues ICE and Border Patrol agents have been using illegal and dangerous tactics, including using tear gas and swapping or altering license plates. Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias says Illinois will not stand for federal agents disregarding laws and compromising public safety.
We have a fundamental responsibility to protect our residents, to uphold the law, and to hold people accountable for their illegal actions. With help from Illinoisans using our Plate Watch hotline, we gathered the evidence that helped form one of the foundations for this lawsuit.
The lawsuit is asking a federal court order agents in Illinois to stop using illegal tactics, including deploying tear gas without warning. The Department of Homeland Security is reacting with Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin saying in part, quote, "It really is astounding that the left can miraculously rediscover the 10th Amendment when they don't want federal law enforcement officers to enforce federal law," end quote.
After more than a week of searching, the body of a missing CPS teacher has been found. The body of 53-year-old Linda Brown was found in Lake Michigan on Monday near 31st and Harbor. Family says that Linda had been dealing with panic attacks and mental health issues leading up to her disappearance. Her family is grateful for all the support from both friends and strangers. They're now asking for privacy for Linda's husband and their family as they navigate this difficult time.
He is beside himself. He is just very, very upset. Again, this wasn't the outcome any of us was hoping for, especially Antoine. He really thought that we would bring Linda home safely and she would be alive and well. So he is very deep in grief right now as well. He cannot, he's having a hard time speaking and processing his thoughts, obviously, why I'm taking over as the spokesperson for my family in general. But yeah, he's beside himself. He just lost the love of his life.
The cause of death is still unknown, pending an autopsy. Well, police are investigating after a woman was shot right outside of Rush Medical University Center where she works. She was shot early yesterday morning in a drive-by shooting while parked near the hospital. Police have not said if this was targeted. So far, nobody has been arrested, and police are looking for a dark-colored sedan.
The man accused of killing an Ohio dentist and his wife is waiving extradition after he was arrested in Illinois. Michael David McKee was in Winnebago County courtroom yesterday. He's accused of killing his ex-wife, Monique Tepe, and her husband, Spencer, in their home in Columbus back on December 30th. He was arrested in Rockford, where he's a surgeon.
Time is now 5:40 this morning. Checking back in with Mike for a look at this forecast. I see a snowman behind you, so I know what that means.
There's a reason why I put that there. And there may not be an awful lot for us to make a snowman, but it's definitely going to.
That means a lot.
It's going to look and feel a little bit more wintry here in coming days, and there will be some snow. And if you get into the Michiana snow belt, you will get enough snow to make a snowman or whatever snow creature you might want to make. Winter returns. First of all, today it's unseasonably mild. I think we're headed for the low 50s. Light snow tomorrow with lake effect snow for Michiana. Then area-wide, occasional snow Thursday night through Saturday, and then very cold on Sunday, game day for the Bears. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be snowing the entire time Thursday night through Saturday, which is why I called it occasional snow. 38 at O'Hare right now. We have a south-southwest wind at about 15. Wind chill is 29 degrees, and there is quite a bit of cloud cover out there currently. Those clouds helping hold temperatures up a little bit, and that's why I've raised my high temperature forecast from yesterday by 2 degrees. We've got 36 now at Merrillville, Chicago Heights 35, Joliet, one of the warm spots with 38, Woodstock 35, DeKalb 34, and in Waukegan it is 37 degrees, same temperature as Chicago's lakefront. Quite a bit of cloud cover. We're on the south end of a weak storm system producing some light precip in Wisconsin and northern Michigan. That's not bothering us here. We will see a mixture of clouds and sun, though, throughout the day. Here comes a cold front. That gets through here wee hours of the morning, and it will be introducing some wintry weather. Colder temperatures, falling temperatures tomorrow through the 20s in the afternoon. And as that cold wind goes down Lake Michigan, that will be cranking up the lake effect snows. Certainly think northeast Porter County, LaPorte, and Berrien County, you're more likely to get several inches of snow out of this. Locally, we're going to have to wait until Thursday night into Saturday to get some sticking snow in our area. I will show you the 7-day forecast here in just a couple of minutes. 5:42, coming right back after this.
My mind, it hasn't been.
Welcome back. Iran says it's ready for war, but open to talks following threats of U.S. airstrikes over Tehran's deadly crackdown on the country's largest protest in decades. According to human rights groups, over 580 people have been killed since the unrest began over 2 weeks ago. More than 10,000 people have been arrested. The protests have been fueled by high inflation and economic instability in Iran. President Trump says countries doing business with Iran will face 25% tariffs from the U.S.
The FBI says it has not found any surveillance video or other footage of a Border Patrol agent shooting that left 2 people injured in Portland. This all happened during a traffic stop last week. The FBI claims that shots were fired after the suspects backed into an agent's car. It did not identify which agent fired the shots, and no one was recording body camera footage. The driver was identified and charged with aggravated assault and property damage. The passenger is charged with illegal entry into the U.S.
The judge overseeing Luigi Mangione's federal trial is ordering a new hearing. It'll focus on whether the 27-year-old's backpack was lawfully searched during his arrest. At some point, that judge is also expected to rule whether Mangione could face a death penalty if he's convicted in the death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Stick around for more news and weather. We'll be right back after this short break.
Fox.
Now on Good Day Chicago, after more than a week of searching, the body of a missing CPS teacher has been found. The body of 53-year-old Linda Brown was found in Lake Michigan on Monday near 31st and Harbor. The cause of death is still unknown, pending an autopsy.
Illinois is suing the Department of Homeland Security in response to tactics used by ICE and Border Protection agents in the state. It argues ICE and Border Patrol agents have been using illegal and dangerous tactics, including using a tear gas and swapping or altering license plates.
The NFL has finalized the schedule for this weekend's divisional round of the playoffs. The Bears will host the Rams on Sunday with kickoff at 5:30. The Rams are 0-2 at Soldier Field under head coach Sean McVay. Well, Notre Dame football coach Marcus Freeman will not face charges after a battery allegation at a high school wrestling match. Prosecutors say that video and witness statements do not support claims that Freeman pushed an assistant coach during that January 3rd tournament. Police have now closed the case.
15,000 nurses in the 3 hospital systems hit the picket line in New York City. The facilities they work at have remained open, hiring temporary nurses in droves to offset those on strike. They're asking for improved staffing and security and better pay. Hospital systems have pushed back on demands, calling them unrealistic. The strike is an early test of the newly sworn-in mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani. He visited the picket lines yesterday, praising the nurses' actions.
Paramount is escalating its hostile bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. The company filed a lawsuit in Delaware to force Warner Brothers to disclose to shareholders how it values their bid compared to the bid from Netflix. Last week, Warner Brothers Discovery said its board determined that Paramount's $77.9 billion offer was not in the best interest of the company or its shareholders. They're now backing the $72 billion deal from Netflix instead.
Field goal range. They want to get 7. They can use the clock. Williams throwing. It's caught for the touchdown by DJ Moore.
And Chicago goes crazy. Saturday's Bear game was so loud, some said you could even feel it. Some even said they felt Soldier Field shaking.
I'm sure they could after that come from behind win. Fox Chicago's Brett Brugansky shows how fans can impact the final score.
Saturday was memorable for a few reasons. Bears won their first playoff game since 2011, beat the Green Bay Packers, knocked them out of the playoffs, take the rubber match in that series, and the playoffs.
The best Soldier Field crowd I've heard in my 4 years.
It wasn't just loud, it felt different.
I've done 31 games in the stadium. It's the first time I feel it shaking like this.
I felt it under my feet first, and it's like this rumble of like what's going on here, and then you felt it on where your computer sits.
You could definitely feel it in the stands. I've never felt Soldier Field that exploded that.
I called the Bears about the decibel level. I'm still waiting to hear back.
You know, there's been multiple instances where sounds been recorded during sporting events that's in excess of 120 decibels.
North of 120 decibels, how would you describe that feeling?
You feel like you're at a rock concert, and at times, you know, some people even describe it as being close to a jet engine.
I talked to Kevin Butler, not that Kevin Butler.
I've heard that a few times, yes.
Kevin Butler, the engineer.
And an acoustical consultant within our venue sector at Henderson Engineers.
People were describing it being so loud that the stadium was shaking.
Yes, that has happened before. Sound is a pressure wave which can cause materials to vibrate. So when you get 60,000 plus fans yelling, cheering, stomping, jumping around, you know, that can add a lot of energy into the stadium and into the structure and cause vibration and feel that sensation.
When people see a stadium shake, should they have to worry about their safety?
There's nothing to be concerned about from a safety standpoint. Buildings are designed so that they're not completely rigid. They have some flex to help them move and dissipate vibration.
Fans have been so loud, they've even caused seismic activity. The famous Seattle Seahawks game in 2011, now known as the Beastquake, and Taylor Swift's concert in 2023, both happen to be in the same venue. One geologist talked about why they stand out.
And with the original Beastquake, it was obvious it was the crowd. But in a concert, there's subwoofers, right? There are, you know, the amazing sound system that is putting the beat into the ground. And of course, there's 70,000+ people, many of whom are actually on the field dancing.
There wasn't any seismic activity for Bears-Packers Saturday, but could that change Sunday? Brett Brugansky, Fox Chicago.
I'm glad Brett took care of that for us. All right, the NCAA Football National Championship is next Monday in Miami. Anthony Ponce's ready when Indiana takes on Miami. And guys, ticket prices for the game are soaring. The cheapest tickets available on the secondary market before Friday was about $2,800. And then on Friday evening, prices soared to $3,800. This will be the first time in the NCAA since 1995 that a team will play the national championship game on its home field.
Well, a potentially dangerous situation for the U.S. bobsled team during a World Cup race. Chris Horn makes it into the sled, but his three teammates miss, and they had to bail. They left Horn to handle the sled by himself for the run, reaching speeds of around 75 miles per hour. Now, this is the scary part. The brakes in the bobsled are also in the back, but fortunately, Horn was able to scoot back and pull the brake handles after crossing the finish line. Thankfully, none of the bobsledders were hurt.
Whoa! I wonder if they get disqualified for that because more than half of their team had to
had to bail there. That just looks so scary, right? Jeez.
Yeah, there are too many wrecks. I mean, we've seen like when they go tip over, and then there's that thing, the luge, that, you know, is that one person on their back doing that. Not for me. That is just scary. It's fun to watch, but oh man. Dude, very, very brave to be taking that thing down by himself. Wow. All right, we have mild weather today, and then a little bit of winter coming in here. 38 currently, O'Hare, Midway, Joliet, 34 at Woodstock, 39 degrees at Gary, Valparaiso, a little bit colder, cloud cover a little bit thinner there, and that's allowed your temperatures to get a little bit colder. Today, I've got us hitting 52 degrees today. Our computer model is showing a lot of 49s. I think it's wrong. I think area-wide, we're looking at a 50-plus degree day, despite the fact that it won't be as sunny as yesterday afternoon was. We'll have a mixture of clouds and sun out there. Tonight, a cold front's going to move through here during the the wee hours of the morning. Again, I'm not impressed with much precipitation. There can be a brief snow shower with that tomorrow morning. Where the snow is going to be more significant is downwind of Lake Michigan. This is going to be especially so in LaPorte, Berrien County, and then heading towards, say, South Bend. But I think you get some in Porter County as well. So don't be surprised if a winter weather advisory comes out for you. This again for mainly late tomorrow into early Thursday. On the Illinois side, ain't no big thing at all. We're going to stay dry but colder with falling temperatures tomorrow. Today up to 52, partly sunny skies, southwest winds up there 12 to 24. Tonight, the cold front comes through. We'll have a low toward daybreak of 28 degrees. Just a small chance of a snow shower, and not going to coat the ground even. 38, that happens at midnight tomorrow. During the afternoon, we'll be in the 20s. Then we get a system in here with snow Thursday night into Friday, and then some additional snow showers around Friday and Saturday. I think overall accumulations are going to be maybe 1 to 3 across the area. Not a big deal. Much colder. Sunday's high only 18 for that Bears game. Will be in the low teens. And then for the King holiday, a dry day, partly sunny, with a high though of only 22 degrees. I've got 3 photos that I'd like to share with you, including this lovely sunrise over Valparaiso. Kim Shipley showing us some of the glorious light that was coming up yesterday. Thanks for that one, Kim. Now a pair of sunset photos. Also from Valparaiso, Ken Loch. I'm not sure what part of Valparaiso. A lovely pond you got there, or maybe a small lake, but a pretty sky nonetheless. And how about another sunset? This one not over Valparaiso. It's over Venice, Florida. Mike Nicolau there, and a glory, just beautiful there. I love how those clouds are uplit. Enjoying the Atlantic there. Thank you all for sending in your photos of the sky. Have you got a pretty picture on your camera roll that you think we should show on Fox 32 Weather segment? Send it to us via the Fox 32 Weather app. We'll be right back.